Hello everyone. In this video we're gonna take a look at framer motion and how we can use it to create different types of animations in React. So first of all, by the way, I have created a simple project using white template and I have it running with pnpm, and I have also installed framer motion. You can install it by the command npm install framer motion. So after this I'm going to import framer motion. I'm going to import motion from framer motion, and then I am going to replace this image tag with motion.image. What this does is it provides us basic functionality of image tag, and then it also provides us different props which we can use to animate this, like initial, animate, exit, while hover, while focus, while drag, and while tap, different types. So let's create some simple animations first. I'm gonna use this animate prop, which does as its name suggests, it animates it. I'm gonna move the image element on the x-axis by 100 pixels. As you can see, it moved it. We can do different types of animations here, like I can rotate it 45 degrees, I can change its filter, and lots more. Basically all the you can basically animate all the CSS properties you can think of here, and if it's not there, then there's probably some other way you can do it, because this library is super flexible and super customizable. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna take a look at is keyframes. So for example, if you want to create like animations, then this is what you can use. Like I'm gonna animate this element from 0 pixels to 100 pixels, and then on 100 pixels on the negative side, and then I'm gonna take it back to 0 pixels. So as you can see here, if I refresh the page, the animation sequence plays. And I can provide keyframes for different tags here. Like I can rotate this from 0 degrees to 45 degree, then negative 45 degree, then back to 0 degree. Oh, I put the wrong brackets here, sorry. Okay, so it did play the animation sequence here, but to see the full animation we need to refresh the page. Like it rotated and it moved at the same time. So this is so you can make different types of keyframes and animation sequences with this. Next up, we're gonna take a look at initial and animations. So I'm just gonna change this to opacity 1, and then I'm gonna specify the initial state of it, which is going to be opacity 0. So when I refresh the page, as you can see here, it fades in from 0 opacity to 1. So this is the initial animate. So initial is basically the A point and the animate is basically the B point. So if we have initial and animate at the same time, it goes from point A to point B. The next thing we are going to take a look at is transition prop. What this prop allows us to do is basically allows us to control our animation, how our animation is played. So I'm gonna remove this initial prop and then I'm gonna make it to simple 100 pixels. As you can see here, it played the animation and it basically springs it, the default animation. As you can see, like it reaches the 100 pixel point and then goes a little bit ahead of it and then it springs back to it, like you can see here. What we can do with transition is we can basically change how our animation is played. So I can change if it is repeated. I can repeat it 5 times. Like see, it repeated for 5 times and then stopped. I can repeat it for infinity. I can change the animation type, which is very useful sometimes because you won't always need this spring type animation. So you can change the type to keyframes. You can see all the types here. So if it is a keyframe animation, you can see it's quite faster and it doesn't goes let me just remove the and it doesn't go like ahead of the position. We can also give it a repeat delay, we can give it a repeat type, we can also give it like duration, like I can change its duration to 5 and then it will move slowly. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It basically gives us different types of controls for it. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna take a look at are gesture animations. I'm gonna create a new div here, and inside that I'm gonna make a button which is gonna say click me, and gesture animations are basically when you are hovering over an element or when you click on an element. So we can also animate this with while hover. I'm gonna increase the scale to 1.5 and when I hover over it you can see that its scale is increased. Let's keep it at 1.1 and also while tap, and on while tap I'm gonna change the scale to 0.9. Now as you can see it increases in size, and when I click on it its size is reduced. So these are the gesture animations, and there are other types of it: while drag, while focus, while in view. I'm not gonna go over them right at the moment because there are a lot of things to cover here, so you can try them out by yourself, they're not scary. Next thing we're going to take a look at is conditional rendering of elements. So I'm going to create a state here which basically displays a paragraph tag, and on this button click I'm gonna toggle this show button. So when I click on this, it displays the text. So let's animate this. First I will need to convert this to motion.p so I can get those animation props, and then I'm gonna specify an initial animation which is gonna be scale of 0. Then let's animate it to scale of 1. So when I click on this now, it grows in size, and then when I hide it, it just disappears completely. So let's try and animate that also. For that we will need to add an exit animation here, and it's gonna change the scale back to 0. Now if I change it, it still doesn't show, because in order for exit animations to show in Framer Motion, you will need something which is provided by it, like Animate Presence. What Animate Presence allows us to do is basically it remembers the element that was inside the conditional render part, and it basically shows the exit animation and then it removes it from the DOM. So if we don't have Animate Presence here, whenever this show variable is turned to false, it immediately just removes this p element from the DOM, so we don't get to see the exit animation. With Animate Presence, however, it will first show the exit animation, then remove it from the DOM. So when I click it and display it, it shows the animation, and when I click on it again, as you can see, it showed the exit animation and then it removed the p tag from the DOM. So with these exit animations, we can also display page transitions. So let's work on that. I'm gonna remove this and remove this button. Then I am going to display this second button. I have a simple router setup here. All the routes basically point towards the app component. This allows us to handle the routing of our application in the app component. So in the app component, I have the routes here, and I use this hook here, use location, which provides us with the location information that is provided by React Router DOM, and I basically pass these values here to it, and I show the first page which was displayed on the index page and second on the second. So when I click on this button, it takes me to the second page, which is basically just a second with text. It is a button to take us back. So in order to display page transitions, we are going to create a new component, transition.tsx, and let's import motion here. After renaming this, I'm gonna receive this children prop here, which is gonna be any type, and simply this. And for this animation, I'm gonna keep it simple and for the initial state, I will have the opacity of 0. Then animate this to opacity of 1. Then for the exit state, I'm gonna just animate it back to opacity of 0. Then I'm gonna wrap my pages with the transition component. Okay, that was a spelling mistake. So now that we have our pages wrapped, if I change the pages, you can see that it changes our pages, and it shows the initial and animation, but it doesn't show the exit animation. And just like before, in order for it to show, we need to have Animate Presence here. So I'm gonna add Animate Presence here. And this should work. Now, as you can see, there is a problem here. It does show the exit animation, but it immediately it starts showing the second animation also, and it is also showing the exit animation of the first page. So this problem can be easily fixed by using the prop here mode. So it has 3 different modes for Animate Presence. The default one is sync. Basically, the sync animates the in and out as soon as they are added, and pop layout, they are basically popped out. And wait mode, this is what we'll need. It waits for the exit animation for the first element to finish, then it starts the initial animation for the second one. So if I set it to wait, then if I refresh the page, as you can see here, it does a nice fade out for the first page, and then it shows the second page. Okay, so this happens for this setup to work, for this page transition to work. You need to have this route setup, and you need to change the navigation by this location prop, because in order for Animate Presence to work, you will need a unique key for all the elements. So this one has a unique key. Its unique key is basically a slash, and this one's unique key is /2. So this is very important. Without this, Animate Presence won't work. It always needs a unique key, which is provided here to us by the location hook. So this works because whenever when an element is added and another element is added in its place, then we will need unique keys to identify both of them. So now that is working, let's take a look at another hook that is provided by Framer Motion, which is useAnimate. So what this allows us to do is basically create complex animation sequences. I shouldn't have said simple animation sequences, because this allows us insane amount of customizability for our animations. We can create pretty much any type of animation you can think of with this. So I'm gonna give this image tag the reference, and then I'm just gonna create a function for it, and basically whenever this function is this component is rendered first, I'm gonna run this animation function. So we can just start animating this now component. So first I will have this move from 0 pixels on the x-axis to 100 pixels. As you can see, well, it did run it for the first time. Okay, so the problem here is you did see like it did animate it, but the problem with this is that it is animating all of these animations simultaneously. So this is run synchronously, and so it as how should I say it, explain it, like, so it doesn't wait for these animations to it doesn't wait for the first 3 animations to complete. It just animates the last one as soon as this component is rendered. So in order for this to work, we will have to make this animation async and await for all of these animations to complete. As you can see, it animates it from the sequence. So let's make a sequence like let's take it back to 0 pixels and then back towards 0. So it makes a full circle for this animation. As you can see, the animation sequencing works. For one element to move, like you can make multiple useAnimate hooks for multiple elements and then animate them simultaneously. So that will work with this. This is an insanely useful tool. Like, I can't stress this enough. This is really good for animating. Okay, so the next thing, let's just bring the intervals back, and then I'm gonna change this animation slightly, remove this weight here. The next hook we are gonna take a look at is useMotionValue. So what this hook allows us to do is maintain a state for our animation. Like we will like maintaining values. For example, let's put x val, and you will have to get the value with this. It doesn't just store it. It maintains a lot of functions which you can use in your animation. So I'm gonna get this value and I'm gonna save this. So it first moved it 10 pixels, then after 1 second it won't move it because I'm not updating the x value. So I am gonna update its value now. And I'm gonna increase it by 10. As you can see, every 1 second it moves by 10 pixels basically, and eventually it will just leave us alone in this world. Oh no, never mind, it's overflowing the whole page. So I don't want it to go away from us. So if I refresh the page, it comes back. Okay, so what you can do with this, there are a lot of applications what you can do with this. For example, let me show you an animation I made.
You can follow along if you want.
So I created this. I created this animation sequence, as you can see here. It also has a working slider. All of these animations are done with Framer Motion, and they are running at 60 FPS, but I recorded them on a bad laptop which reduced the FPS when I was recording it. So all of this was done with this hook, basically useAnimate and useMotionValue. And the possibilities are endless with this. It is a really good tool. You can check that video out if you want to create an animation like that. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this ref. So the next thing that we are gonna take a look at is simple animate function, which is provided by Framer Motion. So I have this number here that is displayed. Okay, so let's create a use ref here. Let's give it a type of any. Let's pass the ref here and create a use effect. That only runs the first time. And then I'm gonna import animate, and this is basically used to animate like from a value from point A to point B. So you give it a value and then it takes it from one point to another. So I want this animation to go from 0 to 100, and then I'm gonna give it some options here. I want it to run for 1 second, and on update I'm gonna get the latest value, and I'm gonna numref.current.text content, and I'm gonna set it to latest dot to fixed value to remove its decimal points. So this will basically animate the value from 0 to 100. And also let's just stop the controls. And so as you can see here, the numbers increased from 0 to 100. It was really fast, so we didn't really see. So as you can see here, the counter starts from 0 and just immediately goes up to 100. Okay, nice. So after this, let's take a look at how we can animate lists. So to do that, actually this page is getting super messy, so let's just go to the second page. Okay, so we are at the second page now. I thought that would give me some padding. I'm using the default white template. It had some pre-made CSS. Why am I making an array like this? This is beyond me. Let's just make a list here, and this will give me the index pretty much. I don't need the index because this is from 0 to 1. This is a list element now, and I'm gonna just display the index here, and for the key, I'm gonna give it an ID of I also, which is not a good thing, I know, but for this example, let's just, so I have it displayed now. So let's animate this. You can simply just use the old method which I showed you and change its opacity from 0 to 1. Oh, sorry, I thought I write it. So as you can see, it well, I guess it's not really visible because our page transition is let's just remove the page transition. As you can see, only the list is animated. So all the elements are animated, but what difference does it make? So I can also just put this on this element, and this will also pretty much do the same effect, but let's stagger them. So I mean, like, stagger the child elements. Okay, so let's see how we can stagger these children. So I have quickly set up this use state which shows and hides the list when I click it. So whenever we show this, so I want these elements to appear one by one, and that is pretty simple. So I didn't mean to do this before, so I'm gonna specify a key here. The key will simply be the index. So I want to animate this from scale I want to animate it to scale of 1 from a scale of 0. So when I display it, you can see it animates, but we want to stagger the children. So in order for this to work, what we can do is inside the transition. So what we can do to animate this, stagger this, we can add a delay here, and we can basically take a value 0.1 and multiply it with the index here. So this will add a stagger delay for it, as you can see here. So the items are animated one by one. We can change its value to make it slower or faster, as you can see here. So this is a very simple method to stagger children using Framer Motion. Now these are only a few applications of Framer Motion. This is an insanely customizable and insanely useful library which you can use to create any type of animations. I personally have been using Framer motions like since I started using React. And if you go to the examples page on their website, you can see that it displays so many different types of animations here, like from simple to this box animation, and these animations, like there's also a component which you can use, like useInView. This will give you a value of true and false of when you can play an animation. If it like if the element is visible on the screen, then only play the animation then. And then we have this really nice sidebar animation, and you can also, like, these are like gesture animations which I showed you before in this video. Then there's also these dragging animations. Then like this nice button, you can use this to create a really nice interactive button. Then the scroll trigger animations, and all of these are like available for free. You can check out the code from this sandbox here. Like this is the top bar which you see on a lot of like article websites. Exit animations, like this simple slideshow which they have here. I also have a video on how I made this. You can also take it from here. You can also see this like switch button. Check out these layout animations. Like these are SVGs. There's also like morphing, and this page transitions, which we saw in this video. Like, let's get back to the gallery. So they have like multiple examples here for this. Like image animations, and there are like so many animations you can create with this. It's actually like this library is insane for your animations. So that's pretty much it for this video. Honestly, I don't think there's a limit of what we can create with this. So this video, in order to keep this video in a limited time frame, this is all I'm gonna show in this video. I have some other tutorials on my channel which work with animations. Oops, I didn't mean to go there. which you can check out for animations. And yeah, I'll see you in another video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.